Welcome everyone to another this month, because not done this for a couple of weeks because busy. But so we also have a news trailer actually. So welcome then again to this week's IT and insecurity news. In case you were missing it, leave in the comments below if you missed it the last weeks, and we should do this on a weekly basis. But anyway, speaking about allegedly here hackers from security researchers, certainly the finest, from the Netherlands, apparently allegedly hacked real Donald Trump's orange fake president hacker's Twitter account here allegedly already in 2016. If I understand this correctly, not really that much into Dutch language, so correct me if I'm wrong. But according to this article here, they claim they found this hash somewhere in some dump of hashes, where usually like LinkedIn, LinkedIn data bestand here, and cracked this hash with the usual fine stuff. Would do that, and found this hash, and also using the same password. First of all, using a simple password, and then using the same password all over the internet. Certainly how president is doing, obviously, right? And also, what is the password? You are fired, allegedly, here, in case you were wondering if some orange failing thing from the Simpsons episodes was a thing. And also, two-factor authentication and using the most amazing and same password. In similar news of US amazingness, Amazon adds former NSA and US Cyber Command leader Keith Alexander, that you may remember from a couple of news stories, and last but not least, Edward Snowden's revelations with all the NSA spying on each and everything, each bit and byte they can find somewhere, and crack and hack as they see fit, apparently, as if the internet is still the Wild West. And now the latest and greatest, Amazon the other day announced elected Keith Alexander, a retired 4-star general of the US Army, as the newest board of director, previously director of the National Security Agency. Yeah, who do you want to have on your board of directors in your latest and greatest IT cloud infrastructure? Certainly former director of National Security Agency. What could possibly go wrong with your security and working together with government-backed hacking and data interception? In similar news, speaking about hacking and data interception, ransomware accounts for 41% of all cyber insurance claims in the first half of 2020. 2019, in case you're wondering, yes, this day and age, cyber insurance claims are a thing, ranged in the size from 1,000 to well over 2 million per security incident. And we had this here, certainly nothing new to you. If you're recurring subscriber here, certainly don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for that, to be informed here and stay ahead of all the latest and greatest security threats. Certainly recurring theme here on a weekly, daily and monthly basis, from hospitals to police stations, from governments to universities here, and a recurring theme, and certainly why you probably don't want to run Windows on maybe Mac OS and all the other software written in C and similar fine stuff. Doesn't discriminate by industry. We also have seen car manufacturers, Honda and other. So 260 increase, in case you're wondering why do we do this funny YouTube channel here. 260% increase of people still running operating systems in single address space written in C, the usual buffer over underruns and other logic bugs, you name it. Speaking about as amazing things there in the industry, Fortnite versus Apple versus Google, brief and very incomplete timeline. So you might probably heard about this already. Fortnite, long story short, Fortnite in their iOS app, while it was reviewed, it was approved, it was live, and while it was live with a amazing dynamic web technology, they decided to add a new payment button of, hey, previously there was pay with Apple with 30% more expensive for Apple's profit margin, and they added 30% less, I think, or something, pay directly, and certainly that is violating App Store rules. Previously here already on the other channel of our own stuff here, certainly can't waste 30%. I said this before, it's a whole lot of money for Apple, basically doing not much. Also, my take is, if you don't want, so software worked for 30 years without Apple's App Store stuff, and if Microsoft would have done this with Windows, it would be a huge outcry, like, and one App Store for Windows would be a huge outcry, totally boycott, total worldwide lawsuits, antitrust probes, monopole behavior, and so on and so forth. And so, of course, sure enough, Apple has took this update down of the whole app then, and they were prepared there from the Fortnite team already with legal actions and fan YouTube videos here on 1984 and similar Apple Macintosh commercial imitating stuff. So they opened a law case for suing Apple for also, what is so bad, right? So they have an option like pay with Apple, pay without Apple, but certainly I can't make profit out of Apple. And so it will become most likely a year-long lawsuit similar to the infamous Oracle versus Google's Java API usage, and similar SCO Unix suing Linux companies kind of stuff. So certainly pretty dirty and worldwide antitrust lawsuit kind of stuff. My personal take for all the people, for all the Apple fans who say Apple brings so much to the table, I say no. Apple also only cooks with water. And not only do they charge, if you say Apple provides like developer tools, yes, but they first of all, historically they charged for that. And even today they still charge, although you can load Xcode for free, they still charge 99 euro a year. And one could argue like Microsoft Developer Network, like subscription, 99 euro a year. So this multiplied with 10,000s, if not millions of developers, should be enough to finance developer tools. And developer tools, let's face it, historically this was GCC, right? Back in the day, I remember before Xcode was, Xcode it was interface builder, was not interface, project builder or so. And that was GCC. Also, Apple purchased Next from Steve Jobs, and Next was using also vastly open source technologies. So Next is Mach microkernel on topped with a old-fashioned BSD Unix. So basically, for the biggest part, only the UI stuff is like Apple's invention to some degree. But of course, a lot of research, everyone knows where Apple has copied and stolen that. There at Xerox and other research, not like Apple invented everything. Usually they have copied and stolen from the best. So this, long story short, I would still argue this product that is macOS is financed by the users for buying pretty expensive Mac hardware. Even developers buy the same. Developers pay 99 euro. If Apple needs more than 99 euros, then charge them 199, 299 like it was what developer tools should cost, and not like raking this billions of 30%. If this is a billion market, so 30 billions market, why is Apple so profitable today? Because they sneak into every developer's pocket, whether they like it or not. And like ourselves, we certainly don't like it anymore and rather do YouTube videos and took our app out of the App Store. And also, even if you say this is amazing, also, in my opinion, developers need a website and infrastructures. And if you have a website and certainly downloading app bundles, like whatever software installer, not installer, that might be like compressed disk archives, like Steve Jobs wanted this initially decades ago for compressed disk archive installation experience. It was also snappy and amazing. Sign it with some SSL like certificate from other vendors or Apple, doesn't really matter, but don't charge 30%. Also, again, the last word to that is Apple even, so this is also super dirty, right? Even Apple is saying here in some court documents, like Apple is like, whatever this was, like Apple is bringing a lot to the table. Like basically Apple enables developers to like make this amazing applications, where one could also say amazing applications make people want iPhones. And certainly people could write UI applications before there was macOS or iOS, be it Symbian smartphones or Java, whatever, feature phones, or GTK Plus, from GIMP to LibreOffice, from Qt, KDE to GNOME to everything else on Win32 and Java. So it's not like the world was waiting for Apple to rake in 30%. And that is a lot of money, right? Even for, take a small company like ourselves or people like Louis Rossmann and others making 100,000, 200,000. For someone making 100,000 euros, this is 30%. First 100,000 euro VAT might go away. So, for example, in Europe, you sell with some 20, 25 VAT rate. From 100 euro, you get 75 minus 30%, you get $50 out of 100, which is really not that much if you consider development costs, salaries, infrastructure, maybe in office, maybe in modern times not, but internet surrounding administrative costs, support, and so on, artists, designers, and so on. So why from a product that sells for 100,000 or a million, Apple should get something, 30%, in this example, it's 30,000 to like 300,000. It's really, imagine like you make some game like Fortnite, you sell, it sells for more, but you sell it for a million. You pay VAT, certainly in most markets, plus or minus this price, whatever. And from that, with all the development, support and administrative costs, 1 million is for a small company not even that much. Also certainly for many people that is total a lot, but overhead and costs and salaries and stuff. And from that 1 million you pay Apple 30%, 333,000 and a couple of US or Euro cents. 300,000. What does Apple bring to the table for a developer, right? GCC or LVM Clang, they bring some UI toolkit and stuff, but that's part of the operating system, and it is there for the users to use already anyway. And taking some single percent money transaction stuff like PayPal and credit card stuff, fine, but 30%, I wouldn't argue about 3% or 5%. I would find 10% already a lot. People leave PayPal for less than 10%, but 30% is, in my opinion, extremely outrageous. And then you don't even have, for example, I said this before, but many videos, App Store, not amused. You have neither paid updates, you could only do subscriptions, certainly for Apple to also, why does Apple not have paid updates for developer applications? Certainly because they want to pressure them to the only way of having update schedule subscription for Apple to rake in even more money on a recurring basis. And for us, for example, we always had fair pricing, like in developing or not first world countries. We always charged less, like India or Russia or China, South or Africa or Brazil. I find it very fair. I don't need, for our exact scan, for example, charge them €99.99. Give people in developing countries half the price, and stuff like this you can't do in the App Store. You have only one price level, and so much to what Apple brings to the table for us and many developers. It's mostly discomfort, and you have an update. I said this before. You have an update. Apple, it's not approved. You can't get it to the users, and so on and so forth. Previous videos, just a long summary. But so this is ongoing here. New development. We will see how this. Before I talk too long to this, again, previous video if you want to see more summary and constructive criticism of App Store stuff, probably leave me the comments below. Speaking about problems with Apple, problems with iOS 13.7, here from the German coronavirus warn app open source project stuff here. And Germans are there. You would think the one thing that big companies like Apple and stuff should get right is contact tracing, right? Because that is the latest and greatest. Certainly all the mega corporations there in the Silicon Valley are the latest and greatest, and the single one most important stuff they get right in 2020, but obviously not. Allegedly, here two comments here on the support blog. During testing, they found that the Corona app here in Germany, developers found new problems with Apple's 13.7 update, with the determination of risk values and with the latest version. Yeah, so new version, new bugs, hashtag peak bugs, not only in other disk partitioning and Safari and other crashing and whatnot, but also contact tracing, because apparently contact tracing super hard, so apparently the hardest. In similar news, on the Windows side, Windows 10 themes can be abused to steal Windows passwords, in case you were wondering, that is still a thing. Specially crafted Windows 10 themes, and also are Windows 10 themes still a thing? Didn't even, well, I usually use it vanilla, leave in the comments below, but yeah, in case you're wondering, specially crafted Windows 10 themes, PECs can use the path, the hash attacks to steal Windows account credentials from unsuspecting users. Allows users to create custom themes, contain customized colors, sounds, mouse curls, and wallpapers and stuff, and allegedly switch between different yada yada yada. Can be saved under app data, Microsoft theme folder. Theme extension can be used to steal password here, allegedly, they say, in whatever form. This automatically try to log into, so when trying to access a remote resource, Windows automatically try to log into the remote system by sending the user's name and the NTLM hash to the password. Can be sent, harvested by the attackers, who then attempt to dehash like real orange Donald Trump's "you are fired" password. In similar not amazing news, AMD PSP vendor apparently can lock EPYC CPUs. Totally not cool thing, so much to not a fanboy here shouting out an Intel and AMD whenever stuff is not amazing. So what this means is apparently for the security as usual, when people either government backdoors, crypto backdoors, or CPU locking, when people say for the security, then should always probably start to wonder and question a little bit. So what happens is apparently that so far only maybe with the EPYC processors, which thankfully we're only thread ripping EPYC Ryzens here, but depending on the server vendor, the BIOS can apparently lock the CPUs. It sounds even that they can burn, burn a fuse. Oh, wait a second. So they burn a fuse maybe, but HPE may not burn fuses, so maybe there are two features, because I wanted to say this even burns hardware fuses apparently, maybe. And yeah, so then you can only use the processor with one vendor. And so this is really silly, right? They say because of the very lockdown boot procedure of secure, we also here 2020 secure boot is locking your CPU to your mainboard so that you can't swap the CPU. It's like, yeah, for the security probably, right? Even. Anyway, totally annoying also, yeah, for the security, as if someone goes physically to your server and rips out the CPU out of your 19-inch server rack. I really have to wonder what companies are thinking for the military-grade security. It's hilarious. The good thing is, I think it sounds like you can still run this maybe from the same vendor's board, but that means if you get aftermarket EPYC CPUs in a year or two, then of phased out recycled server scrap material, then you might not necessarily be able to run them in any other boards. But it's also silly if it locks this to the vendor, but you could still use it in another board. It's like, yeah, a little bit shady stuff. Also, in my opinion, AMD should not even really have allowed this. Also, in my opinion, this management engine stuff should not be in a general purpose processor. It's like security by obscurity, and we have seen with Intel's management engine, the Minix running inside their security vulnerabilities, even web and previous videos. You know this already. In more amazing news, to say also something maybe positive, although NVIDIA I'm positive, but GeForce RTX 3090 3000 series, just a shout out, but they claim it pretty phenomenal. Is it even darn, the switch to German because anyway, but they claim here pretty amazing performance numbers. We have to see how this is going. I wanted to say there are also AMD events coming for all the fanboys. We certainly are here not fanboys because missing open source drivers, recurring shout out, vote with your wallet, don't buy it. I'm certainly looking forward to Big Navi, even if it's slower just because open source drivers, and I would suggest other people to potentially, if you value open source drivers and stuff, why is it important? Not only that next year you might run, maybe next year Haiku is amazing and you want to run this open source BOS and then you don't have a driver. Even people tell me, yeah, but the NVIDIA driver works with Linux. Like, yeah, works how long? Maybe there is some Linux kernel with some more major changes and it doesn't work anymore next year. Maybe you want to run Dragonfly BSD, Haiku, some L4 microkernel, some Huawei Harmony OS, and it's like, yeah, YOLO, whatever, then you don't have a driver. And in general, if you are a professional or you run this in a data center or professional workstations and you want to use some latest and greatest feature of LLVM, compute, whatever, or want to develop something, or like, yeah, God forbid, in a university or research institute, develop something, then, yeah, no specs, no open source, no room for changes. Speaking about, there is some new speculative dereferencing registers reviving Forshadow. Actually was here a PDF. I think I saw it somewhere. Is this here again? Download PDF. Is this? Oh, this even loads. So there is a new speculative, from which date is it? It's probably already a week or two old. Speculative dereferencing of registers reviving Forshadow. Since 2016, yeah, recurring theme here for the latest and greatest processor microarchitectural security flaws. Multiple microarchitectural attacks have been exploited, yeah, as mentioned on this channel. Affected attributed to prefetching. And alright, I think this work, as far as I remember, it's already a week or two, busy weeks. I think they now better understood where this is coming from. But don't quote me on that. Maybe read it yourself. As far as I remember, this was, yeah, they provide a systematic analysis of the root cause of the prefetching effects, while they confirm the empirical results in previous papers. They also show that the attribution to the prefetching mechanism is fundamentally incorrect in all the previous papers. Also, yeah, 2020, all the other papers, they also see security by obscurity, and we don't have the open source, we don't have the source of the Intel microarchitectural register level, high level description. So all the previous papers, allegedly, according to this latest papers, were incorrect, and now researchers claim to have better understood and more correctly understood this. In particular, neither the prefetch instruction nor other user space instruction actually prefetch kernel addresses into the cache, leading to incorrect conclusions and ineffectiveness of proposed defenses. So what they also found is, I think the summary of this is, which probably if you are into this kind of thing, you probably want to read. I think the summary was that the attacks can be implemented more efficiently and that the mitigations are incomplete and need more refinement, if it can even, how far it can even be refined. But leave in the comments below if you think we should make this a dedicated topic and not rush over this in a minute or two. But yeah, this stuff is still ongoing, it's coming, and it also affects more than Intel and previously believed unaffected. So they also demonstrate that the dereferencing effect exists even on the most recent Intel CPUs. In case you were hoping the latest generation unveiled recently would be security flaw free. Apparently maybe not, and with the latest hardware mitigations and on CPUs previously believed to be unaffected, example given ARM, IBM and AMD CPUs. In similar news, over 400 vulnerabilities on Qualcomm Snapdragon's chip threatens mobile phone users worldwide. In case you were hoping you are using some ARM Snapdragon, and probably you are fine. Not. Over 3 billion users globally, smartphones integral almost, and so on, part of your daily life. So what do we have here? research dubbed Achilles performed an extensive security review of a DSP chip from the leading manufacturer Qualcomm Technologies. Provides a wide variety, obviously you all know this, make up 40% of the smartphone market. High-end phones from Google, Samsung, LG, Xiaomi, OnePlus and more. 400 vulnerable pieces of code. Also, 2020, do we find one vulnerability? Who finds two vulnerabilities? Have you found already 3, 10, 20, allegedly 400? Maybe also for people, recurrent theme people always, I say, don't do it in C anymore, really not, at least C++, yes, that is just improved C, but just don't use the string memcopy features, use some, well, certainly Rust, but if you still need to use something C-like, then at least C++, as much people hate me for that, but use memory range checking stuff. It doesn't hurt much performance, even if it hurts one performance to you. Also, it's not like inner loop of video processing stuff. Use proper bounds checking, use it automatically, don't do it manually. If you do it with human open coded code, then usually there is some typo off by one, and so on. Use stuff with automated boundary address checking stuff, and certainly maybe more like ADA, Rust, more memory type safe language. And also similar to other coprocessor stuff, I said this before, we are here again within the DSP. They tested vulnerabilities could have the following impact of users of the phones. Attackers can turn the phone into a perfect spying tool without any user's interaction required. Attackers may be able to render the phone constantly unresponsive. Malware, other malicious code can completely hidden their activities and become unremovable. They disclosed the findings with Qualcomm, who acknowledged them, notified the relevant device vendors, and assigned them the following CVEs: 2020 11201, 202, 206, 207, 208, and 209. So Achilles vulnerability, something. So Checkpoint Research decided not to publish the full technical details, like more. But with the DSP, it's probably related to how this coprocessor stuff works there in terms of memory interfacing and memory mapped IO and accessing the system's shared memory resources. A new attack vector, they write here, DSP chips provide a relatively economical solution, allows mobile phones to provide end users with more functionality and enable innovative features. Think of Apple also, the M whatever, secure enclave. Also, yeah, it's secure, right? Secure enclave, and then there are security vulnerabilities for background, certainly everything from cellular, modem, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, background processing, step counting. For the 2020, you certainly need a DSP for low energy step counting and other smart activity tracking facilities. And yeah, this black box is also, yeah, maybe 2020, maybe a recurring theme. Maybe we should not allow CPU vendors to treat their stuff as black boxes, because Intel's management engine, AMD's, whatever, I forgot what this, PSP, security, whatever, something, or even DSPs are much more vulnerability to risk, say, being managed as black boxes, since it can be very complex. And yeah, can be complex sometimes even. They don't. Also, yeah, 2020 recurring theme, vendors say you can't access this DSP or coprocessor because NDA. It's like, yeah, thank you very much. Who knows what black boxes are attached there to your SOC, to your system bus, be able to track, snoop, and forward everything. Yeah, more details and stuff, which let me know if we should go into more details. You certainly, if you're into this kind of stuff, you probably want to read the details there. In similar news, attack of the week. Yeah, 2020, each week attack of the week. Voice calls in LTE. It's like, yeah, what were we thinking? They have written attack of the week post for a while. It's like, yeah, even other people have already attack of the week, because attack of the week. And it's been bumming him out with their recurring theme here. It's the same to us. Why do I do this? Because for 20 years I observe this trend, and people are not listening, management is not listening, vendors are not listening, and after 20 years we need to try to make this more public. Today they brought us here a beautiful attack, also beautiful attack, 2020, not attack of the week, a beautiful attack called Revolte, because certainly names, Achilles, Revolte, Spectrum meltdown, you name it. Set of protocols get broken, namely cellular protocols. We have seen this S7 also over the years, over the decades. Stuff has riddled with logic bugs, security bugs, encryption bugs, you name it. Recurring theme here. And specifically the voice over LTE standard, which is insecure standard on top of insecure standard on top of decade-old, usually insecure and much broken stuff. Particular protocols. New attack because it's so rare to see actual cellular protocols implemented get broken, mostly because the standards are developed. Smoke-filled rooms have written up 12,000 page documents that researchers never have the energy to deal with. A recurring theme, USB standard, anything too complex, too long, from everything from PDF to USB, from Intel processor specifications. Stuff needs to be as simple as possible, and certainly 12,000 pages. Who should even review this? In my opinion, this stuff needs to be formally verified, mathematically proven, but yeah, good luck formally verifying and mathematically proving 12,000 pages that researchers never have the energy to deal with. Yeah, like not even the energy. Energy and time, and who pays for this, like years of research. But yeah, keep this stuff stupid simple. Everything that is not, keep it the most stupid simple. What doesn't fit on 10 or maximum 100 pages certainly is already insecure by design. It's one of my lessons learned over the last decades. Requires researchers to mess with signal radio protocols, serious cryptographic vulnerability all over the world. Something LTE, yeah, so long dive, long story short. As per usual, so Revolte papers point out that highly vulnerable encryption construction is in fact misused by real-world equipment in the world. Specifically, the authors analyzed actual voice over LTE calls made using commercial equipment that shows that can exploit something called the key reinstallation attack. Much credit to something. And yeah, more details and stuff in case you were interested in that. I probably have too much for today, but leave in the comments below if you want more details, dedicated videos about this or something of that. In similar news, Anomaly 6, secret tracking software of US government in many apps. Also, yeah, Apple App Store, right? The benefit of the user, Apple is reviewing this stuff, right? And yet again and again, Apple signs malware, doesn't find this, doesn't find that, and assigns everything. Normal real developer stuff is rejected for you are linking to your website where you're also selling it, or we don't allow you to offer alternative payment methods, but apps contain secret tracking software of US government. So apparently the US company in the state of Virginia, Anomaly 6, collects data of hundreds of millions of mobile phone users based on tracking users' movement and profiles for US governments and companies. Sensible personal information from 500 apps, as written there in the Wall Street Journal, allegedly. Military industrial complex. The company allegedly even is located in an industrial complex with a own SDK for mobile applications. Allegedly they did not disclose the names of the affected applications, but violates general EU general data protection stuff, and they call it here alarming development, similar to our recurring theme here. Yeah, in case you were wondering, Alexander Kais there at Amazon, AWS, and similar stuff of Snowden's papers. In similar news, previous video, Firefox and their amazing not firing of a lot of their people, including their Who allegedly killed their Who threat management, so Mozilla now without detecting and incident response. In case you were wondering, 2020 security and money, you and others donated money in the Mozilla Foundation at work, apparently only for VPN and Pocket, but not for the core browser or, God forbid, threat management and response and stuff. Really sad news. In similar news, big Tesla hack. Allegedly a hacker gained control over the entire fleet, but fortunately he's a good guy, because 2020, thank God nothing big happened, because the best hackers are usually the white hackers, so Gandalf the White, they have those with the white hat and beard. For some years now, hacker managed to exploit vulnerabilities in Tesla servers to gain access control over the automaker's entire fleet. In case you were wondering, is it a good thing that your Tesla is always unconnected and phoning home there to Elon Musk's total control? So big Tesla hack back in 2017. They already knew a community under the alias in the forums and got root Tesla, early member of the Tesla root access community. And yeah, running Linux, what were you expecting? Some nice security vulnerabilities off by one stuff. And after reporting the server exploit through Tesla's bug reporting, so yeah, he gained like 20 minutes later, 20 minutes later he received 5,000 reward for exposing the vulnerability. Yeah, you gain access to the entire Tesla fleet and all you get is lousy $5,000. But yeah, in case you were wondering, always unconnected stuff. Recurring theme here, what is connected eventually gets cracked, because single address base, monolithic kernel written in C and similar stuff. Speaking about exposing and circumventing China's censorship of ESNI, people write here more amazing research of blocking TLS connections with encrypted SNI. So in case you're wondering, ESNI, encrypted server name identification, is supposed to secure communications on web servers, which provides authenticated encryption so that users can know with whom they are communicating. And yeah, recurring theme, TLS hacks, right? Multiple vulnerabilities over the years. The latest, of course, TLS 1.3. And so although TLS hides the content of the user's communication, does not always hide with whom the user is communicating. The TLS handshake optionally contains a server name indication SNI field, in case you didn't know that, now you know, and allows the user's client to inform the server which website it wishes to communicate with. Nation state, also yeah, it's like secure connection and just like, hey, I want to speak with this bank. And anyway, in case you're wondering, certainly in a most secure communication stuff, you probably don't even want to expose that for people to track what you're doing and communicating with and target this. But anyways, introduced an encrypted SNI that, put simply, encrypts the SNI so that intermediate cannot view it. To learn more about this something. Main findings: great firewall blocks ESNI connection by dropping packets from client to server. Also yeah, nice total encryption you have there. It's like, wouldn't it be nice if we drop some connections, right? Blocking can trigger bidirectionally. The extension is necessary to trigger the blocking. The blocking can happen on all ports. Once a great firewall blocks the connection, it will continue blocking all traffic associated with the 3 tuples of source IP, destination port, 420 to 180 seconds. Discovered 6 client-side and 5 server-side evasion strategies. So in case you're wondering, some insights of China's great firewall and what probably might come to the rest of the world. Inner workings of TCP, TLS, and all the modern fine stuff. Speaking about why the United States effectively banning WeChat, and why do I have even that in this? I don't even quite remember, so many weeks ago. Apps are just the latest frontier of US-China contest. Also, yeah, in 2019, China is censoring applications. In 2020, US is censoring. Maybe this is why I have this here in the news. Was already August 7th. So Washington signaling global firms the risk of doing business with Beijing. Also, yeah, recurring theme 2020. increasingly, yeah, anyway, I have no words. But on the other hand, as much as questionable this United States international potential trade violation stuff is here, and censoring, and also is US not always free market, but not if we like the free market. But on the other side, as much as I don't like this, at least China gets some of their own medicine, and maybe the Western world or the rest of the world should more often copy China. If they censor stuff, then maybe we should also, because certainly similar rules for everyone. If the rest of the world can't sell some stuff in China, then maybe they shouldn't be allowed to do the same here. Also, as far as I understand, a lot of the rest of the world companies cannot directly own or fully own production companies and stuff in China. So as far as I heard, like even like German automakers, like Volkswagen, BMW, and whoever it might be, maybe even Tesla, or God who knows who, like basically everyone, smartphone manufacturing and stuff, everything. So they always need additional local people to deal with, in case you're wondering. This is of course also not something that you generally find in Western countries like the USA or Europe, where you can, like Chinese companies can open a fully Chinese company-owned business here in Europe or USA and also purchase it, like purchasing Nokia or whatever the case might be. Certainly also not the most balanced way to do business with, certainly some future business development details to think about in terms of equal rights here for all of them. Last but not least, recurring theme of the government: hey, give us more data, because data and more data, it's for the kids in security and stuff. Here a study from the BKA, maybe something of, I'm not sure if that directly maps to the FBI, but maybe something somewhat sort of like the FBI in the USA. The flight, just to have some numbers of always, but the data, like government grabbing data of the more it's for the children and security and terrorism and stuff. Flight tracking data from 2019, 78 million data sets. Also, in case you're wondering, right, how much data is it, right? Modern, like not China, but Western government, like in, hey, Germany, right? The forefront of the free world now. And 78 million data sets from 24 million travelers. I'm probably not even sure if that is all. Probably that is only, I guess there would be even more travelers, certainly maybe not in 2020 with all the analog virus, but it sounds a little bit too little. Don't think this is new, but so the result is little. So for all this, keeping this in perspective, right, always give us all your data, like Edward Snowden paper, like track everything, what people, security research like Edward Snowden and all the other famous security researchers and myself said. Finding a needle in this gigantic billion trillion exabyte data set is certainly kind of impossible, instead of spending all the resources looking through garbage data, like garbage in, garbage out, right? Concentrate. I have nothing against Secret Services doing their Secret Service stuff, but not intercepting all the data, like James Bond, like focusing on that real spy action going on there somewhere in the desert or whatever, and not each and other citizens here with our phone calls and bank transactions. So the result of this, all this spying, even here in the center of Europe with all the international traveling, China, Russia, you name it. And the result here apparently 0.082 per mil. In case you're wondering, it's like not 1%, no, not 1%, not 0.1%, not 0.01%, no, 0.082 per mil. It's like, yes, and for that, break our encryption, government backdoors, and give us all your data. Thank you very much. It's certainly time to continue to show the big data collectors those fingers, but so yeah, false positive Oh, so by the way, I forgot to turn on the market lighting. It's actually not too bad. So at the end of the stream, after nearly 1 hour, 45 minutes, I realized forgot to turn on the light, in case you're wondering anyway. But it was fine enough. Anyway, so yeah, false positive, 1,960 persons. Also, yeah, of all the little false positives, do you want 9,600 false positives, right? It could be you and me traveling somewhere, like me traveling there to USA, traveling to Moscow, traveling to Taiwan. Like, do I want to, with all the garbage tracking of communicating with someone in Taiwan or Moscow, getting on some false positives list? Like, certainly not. Get your stuff together, get your fingers out of our encrypted data, and do the real spying where the real spying has to be done on the grounds in Moscow, Beijing, in some Afghan desert, and certainly not in our server and our bank account and all our other data and operating system and you name it. In case you're wondering, that's it for today. I slightly wonder why we don't have many comments today, but I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe overdue, leave me in the comments below if you missed it. There's also just like dash minus E outer time. There's also on the mod channel questionnaire, in case you're wondering. Sometimes I do this funny questionnaires to get a better understanding of the community. Certainly can go and did I not delete? Don't tell me I deleted the what? Why is here print? I thought I deleted the one with the typo. Don't tell me I deleted the. I reposted this and then deleted the one with. I can't mix this stuff up. Either I deleted. Did this really auto-correct this? I'm confused. Posted this twice because it auto-corrected this from bring it on to print them on. Can't mix this stuff up. Either I did it, yeah, UI stuff. So either I auto-corrected it twice behind my back. I can't even comprehend how this happened. Or I deleted with the UI confusion stuff. Web UI in 2020, maybe I posted it a second time and then deleted it the second time. Can't anyway. In whatever way that went into, anyway, you get the idea. As usual, looking forward to hear from you also which UI and usability stuff and look and feel you like the most. Also, if it's comment below, then please comment below, because market research, what people like, what UI we should design, bring it on and on this and the more main channel. As usual, I hope you learned something, if not that everything is insecure and we need more secure software. And otherwise cloud development at Amazon and other such companies. Who is there in the board of directors at Amazon, Google, Alphabet, Apple, Tesla, you name it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you soon for the next videos and live streams to come.